Hey everyone, welcome to the video. So in this particular video, we are going to cover each and everything that you need to know to start your React.js journey. I've created this video in such a way that even if you don't have any idea on React.js, then this will be a perfect start for you. Now before discussing the curriculum, just one thing I want to mention. If you like this video, please give a like, comment down and also subscribe to the channel, because these kind of videos take a lot of effort to create, and I'll highly appreciate if you like, and also please comment down. My target is to complete at least 10k like and 1000 comments for this particular video. So now let's see what are the things that we are going to learn. So first, what I notice is that in YouTube there are a lot of React tutorials, but in most of the tutorials, the ES6 key concepts are not covered, and I will highly recommend to start your journey from here, because it's very important to learn ES6 key concepts before starting your React.js journey. So let's see, if I go here, right? So these all are the things that we are going to cover. So we'll be having logical and logical or, template literals, object and array destructuring, default parameters, spread operator, rest parameters, and all the ES6 methods like map, filter, find. Every find index includes, and at the end we'll finish with async await API call, because these all the things that we are going to use in most of the times while covering all the React concepts. Then we'll move to React fundamentals, and here we are going to learn how to install a React app. Now in this particular video we are going to use Vite, but I'm also going to show you how you can do that using React app. And then class and functional components, styling React apps, state and set state method, the concept of props, lifecycle methods, list and keys, and conditional rendering. So this will cover all the React fundamentals. Then we'll move to React essential hooks, and here we are going to cover use state, use effect, data fetching, managing loading state, context API, and global state management using use context, and also complex state management using use reducer. Once we'll cover these, then we are going to create our first simple to-do app using Material UI. Then we'll move to our form section, and here I'm going to cover event handling, creating forms from scratch, form submission, and also dynamic form creation without using any third-party library package. After this, we'll learn React Router DOM. So here we are going to cover the basics of React Router DOM version 6, creating routes, navigation, link component, navigating from one component to another component or one page to another page, nested component and outlet component overview, dynamic pages handling, use params, use location hook, and also use routes hook. Once we'll cover React Router DOM, then we'll move to custom and advanced hooks. Here we are going to create this use fetch and use window resize custom hooks, and then we are going to learn use ref and use callback and use memo, and how we can do some performance improvement in our React application. After that, we will cover React hook form. We are also going to learn how you can handle validation and everything using this, and then we'll move to React query. Here we'll be learning the very basics of React query, how you can do data fetching and also data mutation using React query. After this, we are going to create our second project. This will be a shopping cart. So here we are going to use the concept whatever we have learned so far. So we'll apply use context and use context API for this particular, and also we're going to implement React Router DOM. Then we'll move to React Firebase Auth. So this will be also a very simple authentication app, and you are going to learn how you can use Firebase in your application. After that, we're going to move to Redux Toolkit. We'll learn the basics of Redux Toolkit, and we will create another project using this Redux Toolkit. Then we'll move to React with Justent, because Justent is also another very famous state management. So that is the reason I covered both of these. So it's up to you, whatever you want to use, you can use that. And then we'll be moving to React.js testing. Now this module also I noticed in YouTube most of the videos it's not there, so I added React.js testing from scratch. So we're going to learn a lot of things. We use both Jest and React testing library. We are going to learn the concept like get by text, get by test ID, how you can test data fetching, how you can test any DOM elements, how you can test props, or basically passing data from one component to another component. And also we are going to cover or create a project where we will be testing a context API, and at the end we'll finish with this Munstack application where we will be creating a task management tab. Basically there we are also going to implement authentication, JWT authentication, and with this we will finish this. So there are a lot of things that we will cover in this particular video. So that's all about the intro, and I'm pretty sure that you will learn a lot of things. And again, I'm repeating, please cover these ES6 key concepts before jumping into React fundamentals, because this is not only going to help you to learn all of this easily, but also going to help you for interview purposes. So that's all for the start. Now let's get started, and good luck. Alright everyone, so let's start our journey. As I already told you that this section is going to be extremely important, and I will highly recommend to go through this particular section, because this will not only help you to start your journey on React, but this section is going to help you in your interview, clearing interview also, because sometimes in React.js interview you might face some queries or questions from JavaScript ES6. So first we will start with logical and logical or. So let's see with example. So we have logical and, alright, and then we have logical or. So first what I'm going to do, right, I will take two variables. So variable, let's say a, which is true, and then I'll have another one, variable b, which is also true. And what this logical and will do, right, so it basically checks if both the values are true, then only it will return true, or else if one of the value is false, it will return false. So let's see with one example. So I'll just simply do console.log a and b, save it. So you can see that you are getting true here because both are true. Now I'll make one of them is false. So now this will be false, but there is a catch, and that is very important. See, because what is happening here, it will always check if the first value is true or not. So in this case it is true. If it is true, then only it is going to check the second value, and this is very important. If the first value is false, right, so it will never check the second value, so it will always return the false here. Now let's see with another clean example. So what I'm going to do, right, I'll take a function, and this function will return a name. So I'll take a name here. So this will take a name as an input, and simply it returns the name. Okay, now what I'm going to do, right, here instead of passing b, I'm going to call this name function, getName function, and here I'm going to pass my name. Now let's save it, and let's see, or basically guess what will happen. See, it will return false. Now you can see what is happening, right, because the first value is false, so it is not checking this function only. This is very important. So it is returning false immediately. But if I just make this one true and save it, now in this case you can see that we are getting my name here. Alright, so what you learn is that and will check both the values. If both are true, then only it will return true. If one of them is false, it will return false. And another thing is that if the first variable, so here if it is false, it will never check the second value. For or, it is completely opposite. So first we'll see, like if I do a or b, that means or means either of the value has to be true. So in this case what is happening, right, so let's say a is true, b is true, so it will return true. Now if I'll make the a as false and b as true, it will still return true. So what is happening, even if it is false, it is going for the second value and it is checking this value whether this is false or true. If I make both as false, obviously this will return false. So now again here, now see, instead of calling this b, if I call this getName function and again do the same thing, so what will happen? Here a is false. Now will it return false, or what exactly it will return? So you'll see that it will return my name, because for this or, right, whether this is false, then also it is checking the second parameter here. So in this case it is returning the name. So this is very important. So because this and or operator we are going to use in most of the times in your application also. Now let's move on to the next one. Alright, so next one we are going to learn what is template literals, and this is also extremely helpful and very good. So see, this is basically used to manipulate any kind of string with some dynamic values. So let's see one more example. So I'll give one name 1. So I'll give name 1, which is my name. Alright, and then I'll take some different name and I'll have a name 2, and let's say I will have another name here. Now what I need to do, right, so I need to basically merge these two values, and then I need to create one single string. So normally how we will do, right, we'll do console.log, and then I'll do here do name1 because this is a dynamic value. This value can be anything. I'll do plus, then I need to give a space, so I'll give space and then I'll pass the name2. Now let's save it. Now here in this case we are getting John Doe. This is fine. Now how we are going to simplify this thing, although this is absolutely correct to do this one, but here using this template literals, this will be much more simpler way you will be basically writing. So to use a template literals, you need to take this backticks and then here to pass a dynamic value. So this is the dynamic value, right? Name1 and name2 both. So you need to give this $sign and then you have to pass a curly bracket. Now once you pass this, you can see it's basically telling that you need to pass an expression. So here you need to pass this name1, which is a dynamic value. Now for space, you just give a simple space. So this will take as a space, and then again you will take the same dollar and curly bracket and you'll pass the name2, and if you save this you will be basically getting the same result. All right, and this part you will be using most of the lot of times in your React project, so that is the reason it's very important to learn template literals also. Now let's move on to the next one. All right everyone, so now next one we are going to learn, and that is ternary operator, and this is also very important. So let's see how we are going to do that. So we have some scenario, like let's say we are rendering some list of recipes and we have a particular flag, and if the flag is true we are going to return recipe 1, if that flag is false we are going to return recipe 2. So here I'm going to take a flag and I'll do that let's show recipe 1. Okay, so this is false. Now here I will be having two functions, so one function will return, so it will return get recipe 1 name, and it will take the recipe name, and then I will be having one more function which will return let's say recipe 2 name. Now these all are hypothetical scenarios. Now this is not going to use in real scenarios that you'll be using get recipe 1 for a different function like that. This is just for explaining purposes. Okay, so now what will return, this will simply return the recipe name. Same this will do, this will also return the recipe name. Now normally what we are going to do, right, so we'll do that, we'll take a if that show recipe 1 if this is true. So what we are going to do, right, we'll simply console log or return whatever, we'll do console log, and then I'm going to trigger this get recipe name as get recipe 1 name, and here I'm going to pass let's say pizza. Okay, else I'm going to console.log and I'll do like get recipe name 2, and this will return let's say whatever Coke. Now if this is the case, if I save this, so what we'll be getting Coke here. The reason is because this is false, so it's going to the else block. So if I make this one true, save it, now we'll be getting pizza. So now using this if and else, this is absolutely fine, but how we are going to do this one using ternary. So ternary basically will tell that you give the condition, if this condition satisfied, so this is like satisfied, then you'll pass statement 1 or else you'll pass statement 2. Now here again see, if you compare both, right, this is nothing but your condition, correct? Then you are telling if this condition is true, you render this statement 1 or else you render this statement 2. So how we are going to do that, we'll tell that if this show recipe 1 if this is true, and also let's do one thing, let's make this one const, and then we will tell that if this is true then simply log this, that we are going to render the first recipe or else you will be render the second recipe. And I'm going to comment out this part, let's remove it. Now if I save this, and what we'll be getting the same result. Now what will happen if this is false? So if this is false, right, so it will go to this block. Okay, and let's see if I do false here, save it, and you can see that you will be getting the same result. So this is one way, and I'll not say this, but you will understand when you watch this complete video that how many times we are going to use this. This is extremely important. So that is the reason whatever concept that we will be discussing in this particular section, all are directly related whatever we will be doing in the video. Now let's move on to the next one. All right everyone, so now next we are going to learn how we can implement destructuring in objects and also in arrays. So what we're going to do, right, I will take some variables here. So let's say I have an ID of 1, then I have a product name of let's say product Apple Watch, and then I'm going to have a rating here, which is, let's say, 5 for this particular product. And here what I'm going to do, right, so I'll be creating the product, so I'll do product, and here I'm going to pass that ID is ID, then I'll pass product name is the product name that we are having, and then I'm going to pass the rating with this rating. So this all, right? So now if I just log this product, save it, so what we will be basically getting, that we will be getting the key name and the value. So this is the key name and this is the value, correct? But here you can see that we can use a shorthand property, and that is whenever, very important, whenever you have a key name, you can see key and value with the same name here, right? Product name is nothing but your product name, rating is this rating. So key and value name basically are matching. So instead of rewriting it like this, so you can do, right, you can simply directly pass ID. So what will happen, this will automatically take from this, right? And here also you can do like this, so I'll pass product name and this will be my rating. So this is called shorthand property name. So here you all will be basically getting the same result, right? This is also very helpful. Now how you can do destructure in object and also in array. So let's try to do that. Alright everyone, so now let's see how we are going to use this destructuring concept. So what I'm going to do, right, I will create one more product here and I'll give this one name as product 2, and this product will have some different property, like it will have a description, and this will be my product 2 description, and it will also have some other properties. So let's say it will have an ID, and also it will have a title, not title, the product name, and also it will have a rating. So this all it will take from here. Now my task is I need to basically get this description and then I need to log it. So what I'll do const get product to description, and what you'll do simply product 2, and then you'll do dot, and whatever you need to log it. So I need the description. Now I'm going to log this get product to description and save it. So I'm getting product to description, this is fine. But instead of doing like this, what we can do, right, we can destructure all the properties from this particular product 2, and then we can basically achieve the same result. So I'll just comment out from here, and then what I'll do, right, I'll do const, and you need to basically give the curly bracket because this is the object, and you need to specify that from which object you need the property. So you need from product 2, and here inside this, if you type control space in VS Code, this will give you all the options. So now you need description. So now what we can do, right, we can simply just log this description, save it, and it will basically give you the same result. Okay, this is also very important, because whenever we'll be learning the concept like state props in React application, we are going to use this destructuring from objects. Now let's see how we are going to do using array. So I'll take another array here. So I'll do const array, and this array will have 1 2 3 these values. Now I need to get this first, second and third, all the values. So normally what we'll do const get array first value, and you will do array of what we need to do, array of 0th, because this is the 0th element. Then I will do const get array second value, and we'll do array of 1, like that. Now here then I'm going to call this get array first value and get array second value, save it, and we will be basically getting 1 and 2. So how we are going to destructure then this one in shortcut? So simply we can do like const, and we'll give a bracket, square bracket, and from which array we need. So we need to give array name, which is array here, this array, and here you need to basically tell I need the first array element. So we'll do array first element, and then we'll do array second element. So basically we're telling that give me the first element of this array from this particular array, and if I just log this, and you will be basically getting the same result. Oh sorry, this will be array second element, save it. Now you can see that you are getting the same result, and here you can also do the third element because it has a third element also. So this will be third element, right? Save it. Now you will be getting 1 2 3. But what will happen if you give one more? Now see, these all are very important interview queries or questions also. Fourth element, if you try to log here, it will give you undefined because this element doesn't exist, right? In the array only have 3 elements, so you need to give here, let's say 4, then only it is going to render 1 2 3 4. So this is how you need to implement destructuring using in your objects or in arrays. Now let's move on to the next one. Alright, so now next let's learn about default parameters, spread operators and list operators. So default parameters, how we are going to learn. So I will going to take a function, and this function will give me the multiplication of two numbers. So I'll do multiplication of two numbers. I'll give of two numbers. Okay, so this will take a number 1 and this will also take number 2. What this is going to return, this is going to return num1 into num2. Now what I'm going to do, right, I'll just simply log this, that call this multiplication of two number function and pass 2 and 3. Save it. I hope you already know we will be getting 6. But what happened if I don't pass anything here? Save it. We are getting not a number because obviously you are doing a mathematical operation here, but you are not passing anything. And if I just log here this num1 and num2, so what you will be basically getting, you will be getting undefined. So here this default parameter comes into picture. What happened, let's say if you forgot to pass something here, but you given some default value to this num1 and num2. So what will happen if you don't pass anything? It will take the value from that default value. So let's say I'll give this num1 default value as 1 and num2 default value as 2. So that means you are basically telling that, okay, if I forgot to pass anything, take from here, save it. Now you can see that what will happen, you are getting 1 and 2 here, and the multiplication you are getting 2. But in case, very very important, in case you are passing something, that time it will override that. So let's say now I'll pass 10, 20, save it. Now see, it is going to override that both values and it will give me 200. If you don't pass only 1, so let's say you pass the num1 value which is 10 and you are not passing the num2 value, then also it will take from the default. So now num1 will be 10 and num2 will take from here, so it will be 10, 2 which will be 20. Save it, so you'll be getting 20, right? Similarly, if you don't pass anything in the num1, it will take from there. If you pass in the num2, then it will override. So as simple as that, if I try to explain very simply, default parameter is nothing like when you will be passing any parameters, it will always override the default value. If you don't pass anything, it will take from the default value that you have provided for the arguments of that function. Now next is spread. So let's say we have another array here. So we'll do const array 2 and I'll give this one 2, 3, 4. Now to spread these values, what we can do, right, we can basically use this triple dot and then you can pass the values of that particular object or function that you want to spread. Save it. Now you will be basically getting 2, 3, 4. Now if you want this one in form of array, so you need to wrap this inside this square bracket, save this, and now you will be basically getting another array. Alright, now let's say I'll have another array here which is array 3 and this is 10, 11, 12. So now I need to merge both of these array. So what we can do, right, you need to basically give a comma and then you need to spread this array 3 also here. So I'll spread this array 3. Now this will give you another array with both the array values combined. Now if you let's say you want to add any values here, you can also statically add. Let's say in the first I want to add 999, right? So these will be automatically added here. So now you can see that you are getting a 999. Similarly for between also you can add, let's say 90 you want to add, and at the last you want to add 10,000. Save it. So all of these will be added. So 999, 90 and 10,000. Okay. Now let's see about the rest parameters. So again I'm going to take another function, let's say which will return sum, correct? And then I'm going to return, let's say return something, not sum, I'll say some info. So get info, and it will basically return some. For now I'm going to return some name. I just want to give some example first. So now what I'm going to do, right, let's say this function will receive lot of parameters and you will be basically doing certain operation here, and if those operation is done, then only you want to return this name. So here what I'm going to do, right, I'll just simply log get info, and then I'm going to pass 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now normally how you will do, you'll take 5 arguments, a, b, c, d, e, right, because we're passing 5, so we'll be getting 5 here. Now let's log this. So I'm going to call a, b, c, d, e. Save it. What will receive? Will receiving 1, 2, 3, 5, all of this. Now here what you can do, right, let's say you have 100 of arguments you need to pass, right? So you are not going to write f, g, and then 100 times, right? So what you can do, right, you can basically spread the arguments here, whatever you will be passing. So let's say first I need to pass a, b, and rest of the arguments I need to spread it. What we can do, right, so for example here I just need to do the spread operators that we have learned, and we need to pass this c. That means I'm telling that, okay, give me the value of 1, which is a, value of b, which is 2, and then spread the rest of the arguments whatever is left. So 3, 4, 5, it will automatically spread, and that you will receive as a form of an array. Now let's see how this is happening. So I'll save this. Now see, you are getting 1, 2, and then you are getting 3, 4, 5 as a array. Now you add how many you want, it doesn't matter. So what it will do, right, it will always spread all of this. See, it is spreading all of this. If you remove 1, let's say a and b, you remove b, right, what will happen, it will automatically include the b also here. Save this. Now see, 2 will also be included, but very important thing is that you need to pass always this spread or rest operator at the end. You can't pass it at the first. See what will happen if I just do the opposite. So I'll pass the c first, and then I'll do a. See, you're getting automatically added. The rest parameter must be last in the parameter list, right? So you can't do that. So this will be at the end. Okay, so now you learned about the default parameters, rest parameters, and spread operators. Now let's move on to the next one. Now next we are going to learn some of the ES6 array methods, which are extremely important. You almost every time you will be using those. All right, so let's learn like map, filter, find, then we have sum, then we have every, then we have includes, then we have index of, and also we have find index. Lot of. So first I'm going to do, I'll create array here, and this will be my persons array, right? Now this will be array of object, and here what I will have, I'll have a name which is person1, then I will have a age of that person, which is, let's say 10 or not 10, let's do this on 30, and I think this is fine. So now, and also no, let's take a city or country. So I'll do country, which will be, let's say, USA. I'll copy this and paste it 3 times. I think 3 will be more than enough. And then I'll do this one 2, and this I'll do 40, and this I'll do 50. This will be person 3. This I'll make, let's say, Russia, and this I'll do India. What I need to do, right? So I'll need to create a new array, and that array will consist only the name of each and every person that we need, right? So now how I'm going to do that? So to map, all right, so see here this maps comes into picture. So you need to map each and every object of this particular array, and then you have to go to each and every object, you need to get the name, and then you have to return it. So now we'll do const get all names, and then I'll do persons array dot map. Now this map will give you a, this map is nothing but a callback function. Okay, so this will give you the value. This value is nothing but the object. It also return an index, means each and every object you are having 3, right? So index will start from 0. So first index will be 0, then this one will be 1, 2, 3, something like that. So here what I'm going to do, so this will return each and every value, which is nothing but your single person. So each and every object is a single person, right? So we'll do single person, and also it is going to return an index. All right, now here what we are going to do, simply we'll just do return, and we'll tell that I need the single person name. So we'll do return single person dot, see, you are having all the properties, so you need the name. That's it. Now what I'm going to do, I'll just simply do console.log, and I'll do get all names, I'll save it. So let's see what you're getting. We are getting person 1, 2 and 3. Now we can also log this here and I'll show you that what exactly we are getting. So we'll do single person and also the index. Save this and you can see that you will be getting each and every object. So first object start with index 0, second one start with 1, third one 2, 3, 4, like that it will go on. If you want age, you just pass age. Let's say I want both, name and age both. What you can do now, you can apply the concept of template literals, right? So we'll take a template literals and we'll pass this single person dot name and then we'll do age is, and I'll do here single person dot age. So that means person 1 age is 30, person 2 age is 40, person 3 age is 50, right? So this is about map. You can also add the index, right? Everything you can do, manipulation, whatever you like. Next, let's learn about the find. So find is basically nothing but it will always check any condition which is satisfying. So let's say you want to check person who is from USA. So whenever this condition will satisfy, it will immediately return that object. Okay, that is find. Filter what it does, it will check all the things and whatever condition it will satisfy. Let's say there are one more person with country USA, so it will return both the person name. So we are going to see that. So first I'll do let get person from USA and here I'm going to do person array and I'll use find. Again, this find will also give you the predicate, which is basically your value single person, and then also it will going to give you the index also. See here also I'm going to take single person, this will be my index, and I'm going to tell that okay, return if single person dot country. If the single person country means if the person is from USA, then only return me this. So I'll copy this and I'll just log it here, save it. So you can see that we are getting only one result because we are having a person 1 who is from USA. If I just make this on India, save it, so now you will be getting the third person who is from India. But what will happen if I just add one more person here? Let's add here. So do person 1 1 or 0 1 whatever, and then I'll add here 45 and this person is also USA. Now you will see the trick. Save it. Now see, and also I'm going to do this one instead of India, I'll do USA. So we'll go here, right, and you can see that you are getting a person 1 0 1 who is from US. Very important. So you are getting only this object, you are not getting this one. So find, that's why I mentioned that find will always return this first the condition which will satisfy, and it will immediately return that. Okay, that is the reason you are getting this. The filter is completely opposite, so it will return all the objects and also it will return an array. So for find filter, what will happen, because there are two person, both are from USA, so it will return two objects. So I'm going to do get all persons from USA and I'm going to do person array dot filter, and here again this will give you the single person and also it will give you the index, and I'm going to do the same thing, that I'm telling that okay, return me single person dot country is USA or not, and then I'm going to log this. So let's log here. So we'll do get all person from USA, save it. So now see what is happening. So for find you get only one result, but for filter you are getting both the person. So both the person are from USA. Alright, so this is about the filter. Next we are having sum and every. So sum is basically will return a boolean flag based on if any condition will satisfy. Every, as the name suggests, is completely opposite. So every will return true when all the condition will satisfy, and we are going to see that. See, I'll do here that check sum example, sum array method example, or else it is confusing. So I'll do check sum array method with example. See here what I'm going to do, right, I'll do person array. Now very important, I'll do sum, and here I'm going to pass single person, and what I'm going to do, right, I'm telling that let's say I want to check here, what I need to check, that if there is a person whose age is equal to 45, okay, or let's say greater than 35. So if you noticed here, right, we have all the person. So one's age is 45, one is 35, 30, 40 and 50. Now what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to do if some person's age is greater than 40, then only return me either it is true or false. Okay, so let's see how we are going to do that. So here let's simply return, and I'll tell me single person dot age if it is greater than 40 or not, right? And I'm going to log this, and I'm going to do check sum array with example. Now here there is a person whose age is greater than 45, so what it will return, so you can see that here if I go right, determine whether the specific callback function return true for any element of an array, for any element. This is very important. So now I'll save it, I'll go here, you can see that it's returning true. That means there is one person or two person whose age is greater than 40. Now if I just do right, if there is any person whose age is greater than 60, you can see we don't have any person, so it will return false. So I'll go here and just do 60. Now you can see that this will return false. Every is completely opposite. Every will check all the elements or all the objects, and if all the objects satisfy that condition, then only it will return true. Okay, first let me do this on 40, and now I'm going to do the every example. So I'll do check every array method with example, and I'll do person array dot every, and you can see what is it determines whether all the members of an array satisfy the condition or specified test, right? So I'll return single array person, and I'm going to return me if single person dot age greater than 40. That means we are tell me that if all the persons that are available, everyone's age is greater than 40 or not. So I'm going to log this, and then I'm going to copy this and save it. Now see what will happen, it is returning false. The reason is because there are some person whose age is less than 40, right? But if I now just go there and just make it greater than 25 and save it, now see what will happen, it is returning true because there are every person age is greater than 25. So that is the reason it is returning true. So this is the difference between sum and every. Sum will check if any of it condition satisfied, every will check if every object condition satisfies. Now next we are going to learn some more like includes. Includes is another one, like let's say I'll have some fruits array, right? And here I'm going to do like apple, banana, and I'll do orange, and then I'm going to check whether apple is present, this apple is present in this array or not. So I'll do simply log, and I'll do fruits array dot includes. Now you can see that it will basically return that true or false if this certain element is present in this array or not. So here I'm going to pass apple, save it, so it is returning true, right, because this is present. If I just change this one and give my name, save it, and let's see what is happening. So it is returning false. Okay, this is one. And then you are having index of. So index of basically returns the current index of that element, right? And if that element doesn't exist, then it will return -1. So here what I'm going to do, right, I'll simply do that, tell me that fruits array dot index of banana. That means give me the index of this banana. So what will be the index? Array index start with 0, so it will be 1. Save it. So we are getting 1. But if I again give my name here, we'll see what is happening. You are getting -1. Now -1 it will return if that element doesn't exist. So obviously my name doesn't exist here, so it is returning -1. Now last one we are going to learn, and that is called index of find index. That is also very, very important, and we are going to use a lot of the times for manipulating arrays and everything in React. So what I'm going to do, right, I need the index of that person who is from Russia. So that I'm going to do that. So see how I'm going to do. So look, let get index of person who is from Russia. Now don't laugh because I'm giving this name. This is just for explaining purposes. So what I need to do, right, I'll do person array dot find index. Okay, so this will again return that if that element present, then it will return true, or else basically it will return the index, or else it will return -1. So again this will give me single person, and then I'm telling that okay, give me that person whose country is Russia. Okay, and now let's log this, save it. What will happen? See, we are getting, okay, we are getting -1. Oh, I think we haven't returned it, so we need to return this one. Now let's save it. Now let's see. So we're getting 2 because this is the person, so you can see that we have 0, 1 and 2. But let's say there is no person is from Japan, so I add Japan here, save it, so we'll be getting -1. So if we go here, right, we'll be getting -1. So this is how you need to use find index. All right, now learn out all the things. Now let's move on to the next one, and then we will be covering with some more example, and then we'll start our React journey. All right, everyone, so now let's end with this. What we're going to do, right, we will be fetching list of some products from this API endpoint, because we are going to do some API interaction throughout the video. So I think it will be better if you learn this one also. So first what I'm going to do, right, I'll take one div here inside our HTML, and I'll give a class name of list of products. So let's save it. So now I'll go here, and then first I'm going to get this. So first get that list of products element. So what I'll do, right, so here I'll do document dot query selector, and I'm going to give this one as a list of products. Let's copy from there. Okay, now here what I'm going to do, I will be creating a method here. So we'll do fetch list of products. Now let's create this method. So we'll do async function fetch list of products, and here what we are going to do, we'll take a try block and catch. So in the catch we'll just log error, and here what we are going to do, right, we'll simply do const, and we're going to do API response, which will be await fetch, and then here we are going to take any URL. So we'll copy this, we'll pass it here, and then we are going to pass a method which will be a get method, right? And then after this we'll do const result, which will be await API response.json, because we need to convert to a JSON, and then we are going to log this result. Let's save it. So now let's go here and let's see. So you can see that we are getting products. So these products we are going to render. So simply we can check if this result dot products dot length, if this is greater than 0. So I'm going to create a method which will render the product. So I'll do render products, which will be result dot products. Okay, so now here I'm going to create this method. So this will be function render products, and this will receive the get products. And what we are going to do, this get list of product element that we have taken, so we'll do get list of product element. So let's do this element, and here I'm going to do dot inner HTML. So here what we are going to do, right, simply we'll do get products dot map. So we already learned map, so we'll give you single product item. And here what I'm going to do, right, so I'll simply return a paragraph, and then I'm going to return, we'll take ternary, so we'll do single product item dot title. All right, so now let's save it. So now let's see what is happening. So you can see that also we need to do one more thing, we need to join this. So we'll do dot join with comma, oh, sorry, not comma, we need to join with space. Okay, now you can see that we are getting all the list of products here, right? So this is how we have done. So this is not about rendering the product, this is about learning how we have done this. So we've taken async method, we've taken a try, and then we have taken a fetch API, passing the URL, method we have passed, and then we are just rendering the result. Now in React this process is exactly same, and then we are basically going to learn how we'll be storing this data in state and everything. But for now I think for this particular section, I think this will be enough. Now let's start our React journey, and I hope that you learn a lot of things. Again, I'm repeating, if you like this video, please give a like, because these kind of videos take a lot of effort, believe me or not, especially in the editing part. So it will be very helpful if you like this. Comment out, and also please share this video with friends. Let's get started and good luck.
Alright everyone, so let's get started. So basically there are two things that we are going to do to install a React app from scratch. So there is a create React app, and the one that we are going to use throughout this particular video, and that is using Vite. But it is also important to know how we can basically create a React app using this create React app command. Now what basically it does, this will create all the configuration that is required to create a React app, and then you can run that project in your locally. You don't have to do any configuration by your own. So let's see how we are going to do that. So what I'm going to do, I will be creating in both the ways, but we are going to using Vite. So let's see how we are going to do that using create React app. Okay, so now if I go back, so you can see that I already created a folder. I'll just copy this and let's go to our command line. And then here I'm going to paste this path. Now here what you need to do, we need to use this npx command, and there I need to give create React app and the name of the app that you want to give. Now here you can give any name you want. So for example, I will give this one as React JS course using create React app. Because we are not going to use this create React app, we will be doing everything using Vite. So that is the reason I'm giving some random name, and I'm going to delete this one later. Now once you will do this, you will hit enter, and this will automatically run the command. Now obviously you need to install npx if you don't have npx installed globally in your application. So if I go here, you can see that if you already created this one globally, then you need to basically use this npm install -g create React app. So this you need to do, and you can see that this will take a couple of minutes. Once this is done, this will basically install all React DOM and React scripts, whatever is required, and after that we'll be moving to our VS Code, and we are going to discuss about the folder structure. Once that is done, then we are going to implement our project using, or basically create another project using Vite, and the same one we are going to use throughout the application. So let's wait for some time. Once this is done, we will discuss about the folder structure. Alright everyone, so this is now completed. So now what we are going to do, right? So we'll go to this folder. So let's go React.js course using create React app, and then I'm going to open this one in VS Code. And now let's discuss about the folder structure, that what are the files that it has created. Okay, so I'm going to zoom it out a little bit, and then the first thing you'll notice that it has a package.json. Now this file is basically will keep a track of all the dependencies that is required for your project, all the scripts, and then some other information. Then let's go to our node modules. So node modules is the basically contains all the dependencies and the sub dependencies for your particular project, and you don't have to change anything here. So let's say if you're installing a new dependency, so it will be basically added in your node modules, and the package.json will keep a track of that particular dependency. Next, you are having a public folder, and then the main is our source folder. Now notice one thing, because this will be kind of a practical project, so whatever things we are going to learn, we will be learning using by some example, or basically by creating some project. So that is the reason I will not go into much more theoretical perspective, so that it will be easier for you to learn by implementing some projects, and the same way you will be learning all the concepts. So let's go through all the files very quickly. So the first thing is that you'll notice that is the index.js file. Now this is basically the single page which is getting served whenever I'll run this project in the browser. Now first of all, to run this one, let's go to our terminal, open a new terminal, and here what you need to do, we need to basically start using npm start command. Now this will automatically run in our browser. Now here after this you can see that we are having some index.css file, which is basically the root CSS file for your project. Then we are having the app.js. Now before that, you'll notice you can see in this index.js file we are rendering the app file, and in this app file whatever content you are having, that you'll be able to see in your browser. Okay, so this is now loading. Now you can see that this is little slow, and the same thing you'll notice whenever I'll be installing using this Vite, it will be very faster. So that is the reason it is also recommended to using this Vite for your development purposes. So now here you can see that we are having this content, and this content is coming from this app.js file. Now what I'm going to do, right, I'll minimize this one a little bit, and then I'm going to remove all of this from here, and I'll write here let's take h1. Now these all are HTML tag, so I'll give hello react from create react app, save it. Now go there, you can see that we are getting this one. So that means you will understand one thing is that this app.js we are rendering in index.js, but from where this is getting rendered, what is this root? So this is here basically the application or project root. If I go to this public folder and let's go to our index.html, and you can see that if I scroll down, there is the ID with root. So this is the single page that is getting served. What is happening if I go and do inspect, and let's go to our elements, and you can see that if I expand this body, there is a ID root, and inside this root you're having this class with app, and then you're having the h1. Now this is basically, so this root we are rendering here. So you can see that we are doing document.getElement by ID root, and in this root we are rendering, this is a method, and here you are rendering the app file, and now this app file is nothing but this content that you are currently seeing in the browser. So this is the concept of the single page application. So this is the single page that is getting served, and for this one we are creating a single root, and whatever components or pages we will be writing that we are going to learn later, that is getting served in your browser. So that is all about this particular simple folder structure using create react app. Now in the next part, what we are going to do, we will be basically start learning some of the very basic concepts, but for this one we are going to install another project, and that will be using Vite. So let's do that in the next part. Alright everyone, so let's create another project. So to create a Vite project, what we need to do, we need to basically use this command, which is npm create Vite at the latest. Now here Vite will basically give you a lot of options, that template presets that you will be able to use. So for example, let's say if I use npm create Vite at the latest, then the name of the app, then hyphen template, and then you have to basically give that for which one you want to create this template. Either it will be a Vue template, React, Angular, something like that. Alright. So here because we are creating a React one, what I'm going to do, right, instead of creating using a template, let's do this one from scratch. So I'm going to copy this one. Now okay, first I'll create another one, because this one we are going to delete. We are not use create react app. So I'll again open my command line, and then let's navigate to this folder, and I'll go here and let's copy this. Okay, now I'm going to paste it, and you can see that this will ask some of the queries. So you can see that this is the project name, so I'll give this one name as React.js concepts. Hit enter. Now it is asking that select the framework that you want to use. We have Vanilla, Vue, React, React, Svelte, Solid, or something others. So I'm going to use React. Now here, because as I already mentioned, this will be a very simple beginner level course, I'll create another separate course for the advanced level of React. But because this video is created in such a way that so that it will help each and every beginners who don't have any knowledge on React, so that is the reason I am going to use JavaScript. And this is the only reason, because I know some of you will comment that why we are not using TypeScript, although it is a standard. The only reason is that as a beginner, when I started my React.js journey, it is actually a little bit tricky to learn React.js with TypeScript because of the interface, type checking, and lot of things. So that is the reason I will also suggest you please start with plain JavaScript, then once you'll get some idea, then move to TypeScript. So I'm going to use JavaScript, and now you can see that it is asking that okay, now your project is already created. So here if I go here, right, this will have some config, vite config and other things. So now I'm going to navigate to that folder. So this will be React.js concepts. Then I'm going to let's do one thing, either we can do npm install or we can open this one in our VS Code. So I'm going to open this one in VS Code. Okay, now I'm going to close this one from here, and let's open another terminal. Now what we need to do, npm install. So you can see that we are having npm install, and to run this project you have to use npm run dev. So I'll do npm install. Now this will install all the packages that are required, or basically all the node modules, and once this is done we are going to run this project in our browser. Alright everyone, so this is done. Now I'm going to start this one using npm run dev. So you can see that how fast this is, right? So now I need to go to this localhost, and then you can see that this project will be running here. Okay, now here also I don't have to explain the folder structure once again. This is the same thing. So you can see that we are having a main.jsx file where they are creating the root first using document.getElementById, then they are rendering the app component. This is similar to create React app. Alright, so this is done. Now what exactly next step will be, what exactly this .jsx means. So JSX is basically the file extension that you need to write or basically create whenever you need to create a React file or basically any components. So JSX is nothing but it's not a HTML and not also completely JavaScript, but it is basically a in between something. And what exactly it does, whatever code you are writing, these will be basically getting converted to a plain JavaScript using processor and the preprocess that is called the Babel. Okay, so whatever you are seeing, this div and everything, this will be basically converted to a react.createElement, and there whatever content and the child components that you are having, that will be automatically converted to a plain JavaScript, and the same basically we are basically seeing here. Now the first thing what you need to do whenever you will start your React journey, so first you need to understand the basic of components. Now there are two types of components in React. One is the class-based components and the functional components. Now obviously class-based components are not used anymore at all, and it is 100% functional components everywhere. So it is also highly not recommended to class-based components. Although I'm going to give a very basic idea, but you will notice that whenever you will create any project, you need to use functional components or basically the hooks. So let's start by creating very simple class-based and functional components, and let's see how we are going to use those components in our application. Alright, so the first thing, let's do one thing. I'm going to just minimize this one and keep it like this so that it will be easy to understand. Okay. Alright, now here I'm going to remove all of this, whatever you are seeing here. Alright, so I'm going to remove from this div, and I'll give this one a div here, and I'm going to write some h1 and give React.js concepts 2024. And remove all of this because you will not be able to understand what is happening here. So you're getting React.js concepts. I believe there are some styling will be applied here. That is the reason you are seeing this one. So let's see. Okay, so you're having the place item centers here. So I remove all of this. Okay. So now first let's see how we are going to create simple class-based and functional components. Whatever components that you will be creating, you need to create inside the source folder. Alright, so all the components logic or application logic will stay inside the source folder. So here what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to use or create a components folder, and then I'm going to create either you can create a file or a folder. Let's create a file first. So here I'm going to give this one name as class based component dot. Now again, you need to basically give a extension. As I already told you, to create a React file you should give the JSX extension. So this is your class based component file. Now how this will works? So here class based components will start with the class keyword, and here basically you need to give the component name. So I'll give this one name as, let's say, class based component. Now this will extends the component library from React. So here we need to basically import the component. Now again, these all are very old. This is not used anywhere in any company. If you go, they don't use class based components anymore. Also, what they're currently doing, most of the companies are migrating from old class based component to functional component. So this is just to give a very basic idea. I will highly recommend never use class based components anymore, because the support is also very less. You need to use functional components only. Alright, and here what you need to do, this will render the JSX, and the JSX whatever will be rendering, the same will be able to see in our browser. So how this will render? So this will give you a render method. Okay, now this render method will return the JSX. So let's say here you need to return the code that you'll be writing. For example, here I'm going to return a div, and I'm going to return a h3, and I'll give this is my class based component. Okay, now save it, and now you'll see that whether you are able to see this class based component here. No, right? And the reason is because your application doesn't know there is a class based component. So somehow you need to basically inform this app.jsx that okay, implement or show the content of this file. But how we are going to do that? Now to use this component in this app.jsx, you need to export this component so that you'll be able to import it here. And to export it, what you can do, will do simply export default, and this will be my class based component, which is the component name that we are having here. So this is the, now you have exported this component, means you will be able to import these components anywhere you want. Okay, not just only app.jsx, but you can import this component, any component or the parent component that you want to render. I'll save it. Now how we are going to use this component here, because remember at the end this app is getting rendered in the root, so that means whatever child component that you are having, you need to basically pass that in your app.jsx. To import this, just need to use this component, this, I don't know what the tag, starting tag probably, and this will be your class based components. You are getting already the result. I'm going to import it, so you can see that this imported from your components, and then you have to close this like this. So that means what you're telling that okay, I'm importing this component in my app.jsx. I'll save it. Now see, we are getting the class based component here. Correct? So that means you learn one thing is that whenever you'll be creating a component, you need to export it, and then again you need to import it in your main app.jsx. Then only you'll be able to see that one in your browser. If I now go and inspect this, and let's go here, you can see that we are getting this h3. Let's go here and change this one to, let's say I'll change this one to h4. Save it. Now you can see that you are getting h4 here. Okay, so this is how you need to create a class based component. I'll again repeat one more time. So first, this will start with a class keyword, then you need to give the name of the component, which will extend the component library from React. This will return a this will render the JSX. So that means we need to use this render method, which will return the JSX, and here you need to write all the component logic. So that's all about how you can create a very simple class based component. Now let's understand how to create our functional component, the one that we are going to use throughout this particular video. Alright everyone, so now we know that how we will be basically able to create a class based components. Now let's understand how we can create a functional component. So again, let's go here, and inside components I'm going to create another file, and this I will give this one as functional component.jsx. So to create a functional component, as the name suggests, So this will start with the function keyword. So either you can create normal functions or you can use using arrow functions. So let's see. So we'll give here function, and then you need to give the name of the component. So I'll give this one as, let's say, functional component, and it is much more simple. And here what you need to do, this will basically return the JSX. So here you notice that it is doing the same thing here, but the only difference is it's taking a render method which is returning the JSX. For functional component you need to directly return the JSX. So here I will write a div, and let's say a what will give an h4. So let's use the same. So I'll do h4, and then I'll give this one as functional component. Save it. Now again we need to use this component in our app.jsx, right? So to use this one you need to import it, and this is the same concept. So the first thing, you need to export this component. So you can give export default and the name of the component, which is functional component. So now we have exported it. So now we need to import it, and now I hope you'll be able to do it. So again you need to basically see where is your component. So this is the functional component, or you can also manually import it. So let's say I'll remove this one from here. So I'll do import functional component from. So you need to go to component and then functional component, and then you can use the same here. And now let's save it. So you are getting functional component here. So this is how you need to create a functional component. Now let's say you need to use this one or create this one using arrow function. So this is the same thing. So I'm going to comment it out. So here you need to take arrow function. So this will start with const and then the name of the component again. So you'll give functional component, and now this will again return the same thing. So here I'm going to return this JSX here, and this is the exact same thing what you are doing here. The only difference, we are creating using arrow function. So now let's save it, and you will be basically seeing the same result. So this is the very simple and the basic concept of how you can create two components. One is the class-based component and the functional component. And to use this component, you need to basically import it in your file wherever you want to import it. So that will be your parent file. It doesn't has to be always app, because let's say there is another component where you want to use this component, right? So that we are going to see in the next part, which is called the nested components. And then again, the one very important point, you need to export this component. That is mandatory, because if you don't export it, you will not be able to import it and then reuse this component. So that's all the very basic part. Now let's understand how you can basically create nested components, and also how you can pass data from one component to another component. Now in this concept section, we are going to learn only those things that are absolutely mandatory to learn, so that we can directly jump into project, and then we are going to learn all of these by implementing a very simple project, and then we'll move to the complex one. Alright, so now we know that how we can create class-based and functional component. Now let's understand what is nested components, and also how you can pass data from one component to another component, or basically communicate between two components or multiple components. So for this one, what I'm going to do, right? So let's do one thing. Let's create one folder here. So let's say you have a task like there is a products project that you are creating, or e-commerce project, where you need to render list of products here. Okay, now obviously all of this will be dummy data, but this is just to understand all the concepts. So what I'm going to do, right, inside this components folder, I'm going to create a folder, and that I'll give this one name as products, and here I'm going to create index.jsx. Okay, now what I'm going to do, right, I'll close these two, and also I'm going to comment out these two components from here. Now I'm going to create a component. So I'll give function, and this will be product, let's say product list, and here I'm going to return a div, and this I'll give this one name as h1, or let's take this one as h3, and I'll give this one name as e-commerce project. Now let's export this. So I'll do export default product list, and I'm going to use this component here in our root app.js file. So I'll do this one as product list, save it. So you're getting e-commerce project. Okay, now the task is that you need to basically render list of products here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, right? So let's say we'll create some dummy data for now. So I'll give const dummy product data, and here I will be having, let's say, 3 products. So one will be product 1, then I'll be having product 2, and then I'll be having, let's say, product 3. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I will be having another component which will basically keep a track of each and every individual product. Okay, and that is, let's say, our product item component. So now let's save it and let's go to our components. Inside these products, I'll create one more folder, and this will be my components. Now these components is the sub component of this product folder, and here I'll create another file, and this will be my product item.jsx. okay, so now let's create. So here I'll create function, and this will be my product item, and I'm going to return, let's say for now simply return a div, and I'll return a paragraph, and this is, I'll give this one name as product 1. Okay, and now I'll export this. So I'll do export default product item. So for now what I'm going to do, forget about this dummy product data for now. We need to basically import this product item in our product list, and at the end this product list is already imported in this. So you can see that this is a kind of a chain. So you have a parent component which is your app, then you have a child component of this app which is your product list, and then again the child component of this product list is your product item. So this is a chain. So what I'm going to do here, so in this component I'm going to import product item. So now you can see that this is a nested component that we are doing. So this is a child component of this product list, and if I now save this, now you can see that you are getting a product 1. Okay, so that means we are having 3 chains. So we have an app here, so that means this is your app component, then you are having the product list component, and then you are having the product item component, correct? So this is how. Then again you can have some multiple other component also, so some other component here. Okay, so just giving example. So let's see this one also. So I'll go to product item, right? So here let's say I'll create another component here. So I'll get a function. This is our button component. Okay, and this, let's say, will return a button, and this will be, let's say, click. So now this button component I want to use in this product item. Now you notice one thing, because both the component are in the same file, so in that case you no need to export it, because you will be able to use this one directly here. So now again I'm doing a button component here, and if I now save it, you can see that you are getting a button here. You can see that this is a button. So now there is a chaining that you are having a app component, product list, product item, and then again you are having a button component here, and the list will goes on. So this is all are nested components, and these all are child or parent to one another. So this is a child of this component, this is a child of this component, and this is a child of the main root component. Okay, so this is how the concept of this nested component works. Okay, so now next thing what we are going to do, right? So we have learned all of this. Now we need to basically understand how we are going to render list of data and how we can pass data from one component to another component. So first start with the list of data. So let's say I need to render this dummy product data, which is an array of products. Obviously this is dummy data. Now we need to render here. So what we are going to do, right? We need to basically use the map method of EH6. So for now I'm going to comment it out here. And now let's say what I'm going to do. So whenever you will be writing some dynamic logic, you need to start with this curly brackets. So curly bracket means you are telling that okay, I'm writing some JSX which can be a dynamic value. Okay, so you can't use some random value here because this is already wrapped into curly brackets. If I now save this, you will be basically getting error. So if we go here, right, you are getting error that this is not defined. So that is the reason. First you need to take a curly brackets, and for now what I'm going to do, right, so I'll take a UL because these all are HTML concepts only. So this is a list, and inside this I'm going to do that I want to render this dummy product data. So here I'm going to use a map. So this will give us a product item, and here let's say I just want to render a li, and here I want to render this all these items. So what I need to do, I need to basically render this item here. Okay, now save it. You can see that we are getting product 1, product 2 and product 3. If I go here, right, you will see that there will be one warning, and that we need to check, and you can see that each child in a list should have a unique key prop. And you can see that this is a list, right, and here there is a key prop is missing. Now what this key does, whenever you are rendering a list of data, React will basically keep a track of each and every individual item, and whenever there is update on that list, it will only render only those that you need to update or basically you need to render. So here this will give us a key prop, and this key prop or index, so we'll take this one as index because map will give you an index here, correct? So you can see that this is the index, and also it will give you the optional array also. So here what I'm going to do, this will give a key property that you can use, and I'm going to use the index as a key. So now let's save it. I can see that if I now refresh this, you are not getting that error. And let's go here, and you can see that this will basically now keep a track of these keys, that okay, this is the first item, second and third. Now although there is a very important interview question is that why you should not keep these indexes as keys. Now that we are going to discuss later. There is a reason, but this is how you will be simply able to render list of data. So what we have done, we are having the data array here, and then I'm going to doing a map, and then taking the item and the index and just rendering the simple li here. Alright, so this is all about the dummy list of data that we need to render. Now let's say there is a scenario is that currently this is hard coded in this component, dummy product data, correct? Now let's say you will be receiving this data from your app.jsx file, from your parent file. So that means somehow you need to pass this data from this app.js to index.js. So how we are going to do that? So to communicate between two components, there is a concept called props. So props is a way to pass data from one component to another component. Currently this is in the same component, so you'll be able to easily do it using map, but this is not the case. In a real project, either you will be receiving this data from an API call, or you need to pass this data from one component to another component. So let's see how we are going to do that. So to pass a prop, what you need to do, this component that you are rendering here, this is the product list. In this component you need to pass a prop data. So for example, let's say I need to pass my name here. So first you need to give the prop name. So here this will be my name. So this is the prop key name. This is very important. So this is the key name, and then you need to give the value. So this is my name, I'll give here. So this is a prop you are passing. So you are telling that okay, I want to pass this name prop to this component from this app.js. So this is the key name and this is the value. Save it. Now because you are passing this prop from this component to this component, so you need to somehow able to receive this prop. To receive this prop, you will be receiving this one as an argument in this function. So this will be your props. And if I now log this props here, let's go to our console. And you can see that you are getting an object. So props will be object, and in this object you are getting the name and you are getting the value, which is a key name, prop name and the name, or basically the value. Now let's say I want to pass another prop here. What we can do, let's say I'll pass here city. So I'll pass city as ABC. Save it. I'm getting two, one is name and one is the city. Now you'll be able to render this easily. So let's say I want to render the name and city here. So what you can do, right, you can destructure this on here. So So I'll destructure name and city from props, correct? And then I'm going to do here, let's say I'll take h4 and then I'll do name is. Now again, because this is the dynamic value, as I already told you, whenever there is a dynamic value, you need to take this curly bracket and then you need to pass this name. So you're telling name is name and he or she is belongs to this city, and then I'm going to pass the city here. So these both the things are dynamic value. So you can see the name is Sangam and he or she is belongs to the city ABC. Go here and change this name to, let's say, what we can do, Roxy. Save it. I can see that this name is getting changed and the city is same because we haven't changed the value. So this is how you need to pass the props, and then you will be receiving it here. You will be able to destructure and then render it. Now there is a shortcut that, let's say you don't want to do this step here, you'll be able to directly destructure easily here. So what you can do, because these props will be always an object, so here you'll be able to destructure directly here, and then I'm going to take name and city, okay, and then you can remove this one. So what we are doing, we are directly taking the name and the city as a form of an object here. Now let's save it and you'll be getting the same result. Okay, so now you understand that how you'll be able to pass this prop from one component to another component. Now let's say what we need to do now, this dummy product data that we are having here, we want to receive this from our app.jsx. Now you'll be able to easily do it, right? So what we can do, let's say I'll cut it from here. Currently if I now save it, it will give an error that dummy product data is not defined. Now we'll go to app.jsx. Now here let's say I'm going to pass it here as a prop. So what you need to do, you need to give the key name. Now key name can be anything, this name that you are giving here, and this will be what we can do, this dummy product data. So that means this is our key name and this is the value that we are passing. Save it. Now again we'll be getting the error because we need to receive this as a prop here. So what we can do, we have already learned. So you need to pass this dummy product data here, which we are passing from here. Save it. Now you're getting the same result. As I already mentioned that this key name can be anything. So I'll give this one name as list of products. Because we are giving list of products here, if I save this, you'll be getting error because it is not getting that, because here we are using the name as dummy product data, but this is not the key name. The key name is list of products. Now this is very confusing for beginners. This is the value, this is not the key name. You have to basically get the prop based on the key name that you are giving, which is list of products. So here now you need to receive list of products, and then I'll pass a list of products here. Save it. I'll be getting the same result here. Okay, so that means we have learned the very basic concept how you will be able to pass data from one component to another component using props. Now let's say what I want to do, right? Instead of rendering this ULLI, this li here, I want to basically use this product item, correct, in this component, and then I'm going to pass each and every individual item as a prop to this product item, and I want to render that. So let's see how we are going to do this one. Alright, so now let's see what we are going to do. So here now, instead of rendering this li, what I'm going to render this product item component, and I will pass each and every individual product item as a prop to this component. So what we can do, right, we can remove this part from here, and then we can basically import this product item, and then I'll pass a single product. So because we are already doing map, right, so we'll pass single product item. So this is my props key name, and then the value will be this item that we are having here. Okay, and then what we can do, you can also pass the key as this index. Okay, so now let's save it. Let's see what is happening. So you can see that we are getting product one click, product one click, product one click. Now you might think that why this is happening. The reason is because list of products has 3 products, and we are calling this product item component and passing each and every individual product. So total 3 products we are passing, so we are getting 3 times result. But each and every time we are getting a static result. The reason is because in this product item component we are basically rendering a static data. So now instead of rendering this product one multiple times, what we need to do, we need to render each and every product, and because of that we are already receiving this single product item as a prop here. And now instead of rendering this product item, what I can do, I can pass this product single product item as a value there, and then also we can receive this key here. So I'll pass it here and then pass this key as this key. If I now save this, now you can see that we are getting product 1, product 2 and product 3, and for each and every product there is a button, because that is fine because we are passing this product button component here. Alright, so this is how you need to basically render list of data, and then you'll be able to pass the data from one component to another component. Alright, so this is done. Now next thing what we are going to do, now we will be learning some very basic way how we can do styling React.js. So now there are many ways that we are going to learn. For example, how we can do some CSS libraries like or frameworks like Material UI, then we are having Ant design, then you are having Tailwind CSS, Setcn UI, a lot of others. For now, let's see two ways that we are going to do. The first one will be to create a simple CSS file. So for example, let's say inside these products I want to give some styling to this each and every product item. So what I can do, I'll create a file. So and this will be, let's say, my style.css, and now I will go to my main product list component. So this is my product list, and here what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply render or import my style.css, save it. Now let's say in this e-commerce project I need to give some style, so I need to increase the font or color or anything. So what we need to do, so in normal HTML CSS we usually give class, but in React.js you need to use class name, and the reason is because for class-based component we also use class keyword, so that it doesn't conflict with this class CSS class and that class component. So that is the reason we need to pass class name, and here I'll give, let's say, title, the class name. Now I'll copy this. Let's go to our CSS. Now this is normal way of writing CSS, and here I'll give a font size of, let's say, 50 px. I'll give font weight of bold, and now let's save it, and you can see that this is getting applied here. Alright, so now I'll not go into much details. The reason is because these things you should already know. Like for React, it's not like it's a completely different way of writing CSS. At the end you have to use the same CSS properties and everything, and you will be able to import it. So this is one way, and that is to create a simple style.css file and then you import it and pass the class name. The second way is that you can also create CSS modules. So let's say for this product item, so I'll go to components, and inside this I have product item.jsx. so we also can create CSS modules. So I'll give this one as product item dot, you need to give module dot CSS. Okay, now here what I'm going to do, let's say I need to give some style to this button. Okay, so I'll give here dot button style, and I'll give a background color of black. Font weight I'll give, let's say, bolder. Font size I'll give 18 px. Okay, save it. Now nothing will change because we need to apply. So we'll go to product item, and here I'm going to import let's do styles from, so product item dot module dot css. Now these styles will give you a object. Now here what we can do, simply you can use the class name, and now here we'll do style, and then we'll do dot. So you can see that we are having button style, so you can pass styles dot button style, save it, and you can see that we are getting this on the style. Let me just do the color as white. Okay, so you can see that this is getting changed. Also, if you go here and then log these styles, right, and let's see what is happening. So I'll inspect here, go to console. So you can see that we are getting an object, and here you are having a button style, and there will be a class name. So you can see that this is the class name that is getting applied. So if I go here, it will automatically create a unique class name, and this is the class that you have written here. Okay, so now for each and every time, let's say I need to give some class name to this single product item. So I'll give here dot product title. Let's give a font size of 20px, and color I'll give let's use some random color. Save it. Now you can see that if I go here, right, this we are having two now, so we'll copy this product title, go here, and then here we can do class name. So this will be my styles dot product title. Save it. Now I can see that the color is getting applied here. Okay, so we have learned two very simple way of doing. One is to create CSS file and then CSS modules. Now then there is inline styles. Now what exactly inline style is? So here for each and every element that you are using, you also able to use inline style. So you have to give style property here, and this will be object. Now let's say I'll give a padding of 20px, and I'll give a border of 2px solid red. Save it. I can see that you are getting for each and every item, correct? Also let's give a margin bottom will give of 10px or 12px. So you can see that you are getting margin. So this is inline way of writing. Now this is also can be helpful in some cases where you need to give some dynamic values and everything, or you need to override some values. So in that case you can use these inline styles. Okay, so now we know three ways. One is inline ways, you can create CSS modules, or you can create simple style.css and then import it and then use those as a class name. Alright, so now in the next part, now we will be moving to some very important things like how you can use ternary operators or conditional statements, how to manage state, and then we'll be learning very basic of lifecycle methods in class-based components. And once we learn that, then we'll be moving to functional components, and that is hooks. So let's start all of this one by one. Alright everyone, so now we are going to learn three more things. So first one will be how we can write conditional statements, and then we are also going to learn how you can manage state in a class-based component, although we are not going to use state management in class-based component because we'll be creating everything using hooks. But I think it's always better to know how you can do those in class-based component also, in case your project is in class-based components. Also you're going to learn how some basic lifecycle methods in class-based components. So first we'll start with conditional statements. So what is basically conditional? So let's say you're managing some kind of state and there is a flag. Now based on that flag value, you need to either render this particular text here or JSX here, or you no need to render it. So that means this render of this particular h4 element is depends on some kind of statements. So let's see how we are going to do that. So for now, because we haven't started the state management yet, so for now I'm going to basically show you this particular example using some static value, but I'm going to show you multiple ways that you basically do the same thing again and again. So first I'll take a flag here, and this flag is, let's say, true. Okay, now if this flag is true, so I want to render this text here, or else I want to render something like hello world. Okay, so how we are going to do that? So to do this one, we are going to use the ternary operator. Now again, when you are writing ternary, you need to give a curly brackets because this is based on some dynamic value. So we will basically check here if this flag is true. So in that case, you render this h4 tag here, or else, so this is in the else block, you render hello world. Okay, I hope you are getting. So now if the flag is true, so it's already true now, so it will render this. So you are getting this one. Let's make this one as false, save it. So we are getting hello world. So this is very simple way of writing. Now there is nothing like very complex logic in this conditional. this will be same for each and every scenario that you'll be writing. But how many ways that we can write that? Now there is another way that you can write, and that is you can basically create a simple function. Okay, so let's say I'll create a function here, and this will be function render text block. So this will be my function, and this function I want to return this JSX. Now why this is important? So for now currently this is very simple, so that is the reason you're writing it. Let's say your logic is very complex, and in that case you want to keep this return block as simple as possible or readable for other users. So in that case it's always better to create some kind of function or components, and then you basically render the same. So here this will receive a flag, so this will be get flag, and then we are going to do the same thing. So I'm going to return that if this get flag is true, so I'll render this h4, or else I want to render the hello world. Okay, now this function I want to render instead of all of this, so I'll remove all of this. Again you need to take curly bracket, and then I'll do render text block. So this is the function name, and you have to invoke this, and you can see that this will receive a flag. What flag is that? So this flag is nothing but this flag that we are having here. So I'll pass that flag as an argument, and I'll save it, and you can see that we are getting the same result. If I make this one as true, and you are getting this value. So now what we are doing, instead of writing the JSX logic here, we have kept this logic separated, and then based on that we are rendering this. So this is another way. Now what is the third way? Now there is another way that you can write. So write this. So let's say I will take a value here. So now I'm going to comment it out from here. Okay, and I'll take the same like render text block, and I'll do this one as, or keep this one as null. Now what I'm going to do, right, so we will do, or let's do this one as const, and directly write it that if flag is true, then render this. Okay, or else render this. So this is kind of you are keeping this one in a variable. Now you don't need to invoke this because this is not a function, and then you can simply render this here. So render text block. So you can see that this is rendering a JSX element because we are returning we are writing a JSX here. Save it, and you'll be getting the same result. So this is another way. Now there is one more way that you can write, and that is using if else, but I will highly not recommend. I think it's not better not to write and use ternary as much as possible, but it's also not wrong. So I'll keep this one as let render text block. I'll keep this one as null, and I'll do here if the flag that we are having, if this is true, then I'm going to return this JSX. See, if you see here, right, this is the same thing again and again. So I'll comment it out. So if flag is true, return this JSX, else return this. Okay, so this is one more way. Sorry, I think we have done some mistake. Instead of returning, because we're not writing in a function, right, we need to do this one like this. So if flag is true, then render block will be this JSX. If flag is false, then render text block will be this JSX, and again you have to render it here. Save it, and you'll be getting the same result. Make this one as false, save it. Now you're getting hello world. So you can see that we have learned multiple ways of writing JSX element. Either you can write inside this block only, or you can create a separate function. I will suggest, like, whenever you are having very complex and very lengthy code, then you can keep that logic in a separate function. In that case you will not get some kind of sonar issues also. Alright, but if it is simple, then simply write it here. Okay, and also you can able to write using this, like you can take a variable and then you can also check the same, or you can also take or use of if else, and you'll be getting the same result. Alright, so this is all about the conditional. Now let's start learning some very basic concept of state management in a class-based component. So you already have a class-based component created right here. So now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment it this product list for now, and I'm going to basically only keep the class base component. Save it. So we are getting class base component here. Now let's go here. I'll close everything else. Okay, so what I want to do anyway, I think every tutorial like instructor will do the same thing, and that is start with a very basic example. So we'll keep a button, and then on click of this button I want to toggle this text. Very simple one. So here I'm going to do a button and I'll do toggle text. So on click of this button I want to toggle this text or hide, and so vice versa. So what we can do right here, first you need to take a state. So you need to take the state, and that is take a state. This state will be object, as simple as that. And then here I'll be showing like so text. So this is your state variable. This is the variable name, and the value will be, let's say, false. Okay, now how we are going to access this state? Because we are in a class environment, so you need to take a log, and to access this state you need to take this dot state. See what will happen if I just do state here, save it, you'll be getting error, correct? So if I go to console, you can see the state is not defined because it's not getting the instance of that state. So we'll do this dot state, save it. So you're getting a so text is false. So now to access this, so this will be this dot state dot so text. You can see already it's showing the suggestion. Okay, so this is how you can define the state, and this is how you can access the state. Two things. Now another way that you can do, and that is you can take a constructor here which will take a props. You can pass the super, and then here you can also take this dot state, right, and then do the same thing. So I'll copy this and then I'll comment it out here, save it, and you'll be getting the same result. But I actually prefer writing simpler ways. I'll keep it like this. So we have a state, and then there is a so text. What I want to do, right, on click of this button I want to make this one from false to true, from true to false, vice versa. So to do that, what we need to do, we need to basically click on this button, right? We need to click here, so that we need to do or basically change that. So to do that we need to take a event, and that is because we are clicking, so we need to take an on click event. So we'll do on click, and now here we need to basically take a method, and that will be, we will create a method. So let's do const handle click. Sorry, we no need to take const because we are in a class. So we need to take handle click, and this will be arrow function. The reason we are taking arrow function, because we no need to bind this. If you are taking normal JavaScript functions, then you need to bind that function inside constructor, or else it will basically not get that instance again. So here if I hover right, it is showing class base component dot handle click. So that means this is the method of current class, which is this class component. So we are having a handle click. Now again, you can't take directly handle click like this. You need to take it always with this dot handle click. Okay, then only you'll be getting the instance. So now if I now go handle click, and let's say log here, button clicked, save it, okay, now I'll go here and click. So you can see we are getting button clicked. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to basically change this or toggle this text. So how we are going to do that? So to do this one, we have a method, and using that method you need to basically manage your state in class base component, and that is called set state method. Now you can't do like this. If you do this dot state dot so text is not equal to this dot state dot so text, means you are basically toggling. This is not at all recommended, and this is also a very important interview query, and that is the reason what will happen if you directly mutate the state. So you're directly mutating the variable, right? It will not re-render the component. So this is not recommended. Okay, so what you can do, you need to take a set state method. So do this dot set state. So what this method does, this will update your state variable, and here This will also take a callback that is optional, so it will take any state. So for now we are having this show text, correct? So what we can do, we'll do show text is equal to not equal to this dot state dot show text. That means we are toggling this state. And now see what will happen if I now save it, and let's open our console. We are having object is false. I'll click here, this is now true, click here, this is now false, true, false, true. So this is toggling. So now what we can do, we already learned the ternary, right? So you can basically check if this dot state dot show text, if this is true, then only you render this, or else it will be null. Null means we don't want to render anything. So first time you don't see, click here, rendering this one, click here, it's hiding, correct? So this is how you can manage your state in class-based component. Now there is a shortcut that you can use. You can basically first destructure the show text from this dot state, and then you can basically pass this directly here. Okay, this is much more organized way, and the same thing you can do here. Let's say first you'll do const is equal to this dot state, and you'll take the show text, and instead of doing every time this dot state dot show text, this dot state dot something else, you can directly pass it here, save it, and it will be the same result. You can see. Okay, now let's say I'll do another very simple one. So what we can do, right, let's say we are having another state here, and that is change color. What I want to do, when I'll show this text, right, that time I want to change the color from let's say currently we are having black to red, something else. So what we can do here basically, so whenever I'll click on this button again, we'll take this change color, and then I'll do change color will be not equal to change color. Okay, so that means again we are changing color of the variable from false to true, true to false, and then again we'll take this one here, change color. And now what we will do here, you remember we have learned one more style property, right? So here I'll check if this change color, so if this is true, or sorry, here we need to take the color, so I'll take the color property. So we'll check if this change color, if this is true, I'll make this one to red, or else this will be black. Save it. Now see what we are doing. If this is true, this would be red, and at the same time we should show this. Click here, it's getting changed to red, and if I click here, you are not able to see, that is fine, but it will be now basically black. So this is how you can use inline styles, and also you can see that we are basically changing the state, and based on that we are doing some operations. So this is very basic of how you can manage state. So you need to take a state object, you will basically take an event, and based on that you'll access the state in your render method, and based on that you'll be manipulate your JSX. Now let's move on to the next one, and next we'll be learning some very basic lifecycle methods, and that will be it for our class-based components. After that we'll be start our journey on hooks, because there are a lot of things to learn. Okay, so now let's understand some of the very basic lifecycle methods in class-based components. So first we are going to learn what is called component did mount. Then we are having component did update, and then we are having component will unmount. So component did update, so here we will take component did mount, so you can see that. So this will run for the first time whenever you will load this page. All right, so here you can see that if I hover here, called immediately after the component is mounted, and here if you want to set any state, this will trigger a re-rendering of this particular component. So if I now log here, so like this is called first time on page load, save it. Now let's say what will happen, and you can see that if I refresh this, and you can see that we are getting this is called for the first time on page load. And now see what will happen. I want to do something, right? So instead of clicking here and then showing this and changing the color, I want to do this on page load. So how we are going to do that? So to do this one on page load, you can do, right, I think it's already mentioned that if you want to set any state, this will trigger a re-rendering. So you can simply do a this.set state here, and then I will do show text. This will be not equal to this.state.show text, and then I'll do change color will be this.state not equal to this.state.change color. If I now save this, what will happen here? Noticed. So I'll save it and refresh this page. See, first time only you are getting this because this is changing the state, and if I change here then it is toggling, right? Refresh this page, this is color is getting changed, and this show text is now true. The reason because we are changing this one from in component did mount on page load. Now what kind of things that you can do? You can call any API on page load, and you can do a lot of other things. Whenever there is a requirement that you need to do some kind of extra logic or basically some side effect on page load, you can use component did mount. Then you are having component did update. So component did update is basically will check whenever the component will be getting updated or any props or state value changes. Okay, called immediately after updating occurs, not called for the initial render, because obviously for initial render we are already triggering this component did mount. So this will only trigger whenever there is a change in props or state. So this will give you two arguments. One will be the previous props and previous state. So now let's log both and let's see what is happening. Previous props and previous state. Save it. I'll go here, go to console. So you can see that props we don't have anything, and for the first time previous state is now true and true. The reason is because here you can see that we are changing this one to true and true, right? Show text and change color. So that is the reason. Now if I go here and click, you'll see this is getting changed now, correct? Line number 37. Now this is, here you can see that this is true. If I click here again, this is false. So this is showing you the previous props, previous state, not the current state. So now I'll remove this previous props, and now you'll see what will happen if I compare this one with previous props to new previous state to new state. So I'll do previous state and then new state, and now see what will happen. So first time you can see that we are getting true. So refresh this page. Okay, let me remove it from here. Now see, okay, refresh this. So you are having false first time, then it's getting changed to true. Click here. Now it is, the previous prop was true, now the current is false. So that means here you will be able to trigger it. Now let's say I want to do something else. If I will have a button, right, another button, and that is my count button, and I want to increase the counter value. Now when the counter value will reach 10, I want to render a text only when it will be reach 10. So let's see how we are going to do that. So here what I'll do, right, I'll take another state, and this will be my count, and keep this on as 0, and then here I will take another button, and I'll do increase count value. Okay, and then I'll do here on click, and I'll do this dot handle count. I'll create this method here. So I'll do handle count, and here what I want to do, right, I'll do this dot set state. So here first I'll destructure this dot state, whatever state is there, and then I'm going to change the count value will be this dot state dot count plus 1. So every time I'll click on that button, I want to increase the count value, and at the end I'm going to render it. So I'll render count is, so I will take here count, and I'll render it here. So you need to take curly brackets, and I'll render the count. Save it. I can see that if I increase this, count is getting changed. Now what I want to do, I will check whenever the count value will be 10, I want to, let's say, what we can do, right? For example, we will make this, we'll change the color and the font size both. Okay, so now I will do something like change count style, and this will be, let's say, false. Now how I'm going to do that? So to do this one, I need to basically manage basically keep a track of the previous state and the current state. And where we need to do that, we need to do that inside component update. So here what you will check, right? If, very very important, if previous state and previous state dot count is not equal to these dot state dot count, that means we are checking that previous count is not same as current count. And we'll check these dot state dot count is equal to 10. That means whenever the count value will be 10, what we will do, we'll take these dot set state, and then we'll first destructure the original existing state, and then I'll change color style will be not equal to these dot state dot change color style. I'll explain again what I'm doing. Save it. Now see, first time this component did mount will be getting called, then we'll be clicking on this button, right? So it will become 1 2 3 4 5 6 like that. So here we are checking that if the previous count is not equal to same count, current count, and the current count is 10, then I'll make this variable from false to true. So now here, or let's make this one as true only. I don't want to toggle this, so change count style will be true. Now see what will happen if I now log this change count style here. Save it. See what will happen. We are getting false. Now I'll change this value. So I'll do 1, it is false, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I'll click once again. It become true, right? Because this is happening here in the component update. So now it is very simple. I'll check if style, so I'll do color, so I'll do if change count style is true, I'll make the color as, let's say, brown. Let's make this one as blue, or else I'll make this one as black. And then I'll also do the font size. I will do if the change count style is true, I'll make this one 30px, or else I'll make this one 12px. Save it. Now let's see what is happening. Refresh this page. I'll change, now this is 12px. You can see that I'll show 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and now 10. This is getting changed and the color is getting changed. Okay, so this is how you can do side effects or manage side effects. Now just now this is regarding your previous state you have done. The same behavior will be previous props. So let's say you are receiving some props, and that props also you will be able to check it here, that if the previous props is not equal to current props, and then you will do something like here, any kind of side effect. And then at the end you are having another one. I'll not go much into details. So this component will unmount, will log when the component will be getting unmounted or destroyed. Component is getting unmounted. Okay, so these three are more than enough to know to the life cycle. And then you are having the render method. I think this we have already discussed. So that's all for this particular section. Now in the next section we will be starting very important, and I think you have to be very careful and please learn these hooks, because we are going to use throughout this particular video. So now let's start with our hooks journey. So what are the hooks that we are going to learn? So first we'll start with use state, then we'll learn use effect to manage any kind of side effects. Then we'll learn use context, very important. Then we'll learn use reducer. These four are mostly used. Then you are having use ref, use callback, use memo. These three are for performance improvement. Use ref not for performance improvement. Use ref is to manage your DOM elements. But then we'll be learning to use callback and use memo. That is the performance optimization hook. So mainly we'll be covering in this particular video use state, use effect, use context, React Context API, and use reducer. Alright, and after that we'll be start creating our project. I already mentioned that I'll be creating another separate video for React advanced topics and also React with JavaScript and React testing. But for now, for this one, I want all of you, so that you guys have some very basic idea, and you'll be creating some basic to intermediate to advanced level of project also. So let's start with our first hook, and that will be useState. Okay, so now we will be start our hooks journey. So the first one we are going to learn, and that is called useState hook. So useState is basically used to manage the state, or basically the component state. So for this one, what I'm going to do, right, I'll just comment it out, and then I'm going to remove the comment from this product list, save it. So we're having the product here. Now noticed one thing in the, if I go to the product list component, so here you can see that we are having a dummy flag, and based on this flag we are basically rendering a text block conditionally. So what I want to do, right, instead of keeping this flag as static, I want to manage this on form of a state. So there will be a button, and then again I want to do the same thing that we have done in the class based component. The reason we are taking simple one, so that it will be easier for understand. Believe me or not, when you will start from simple, it's a matter of time that you only will be able to do any kind of complex. You will have so many ideas. All right, if you start with very complex, it is very difficult to understand also. So the first thing is that what you need to do, right, so here we need to basically take a state. Now here you can't take a state like this, like your class based component. It doesn't work like that. So first we'll start with our useState hook. So how we are going to write a useState hook? So first we'll need to take a const, and this useState will basically give you a state variable. So in our case, let's say I'll give this flag as our state variable. I'm going to remove this. So this is a state variable, and then there will be a setState method. If you compare with the class based component state management, you will see some similarities, not exact. See, the first step here also you have taken a state, right, and here also you are taking a state variable. So these all are nothing but your state variables only. Then you are having a method which is updating the state. Similarly here also you will be having a method that will dispatch a action which will basically update your state. So it's always better to start the name of this method with set, so that you'll be able to understand, okay, I'm setting the state here, and because the variable name is flag, so I'll give this one name as set flag. Okay, and now you need to take useState. So useState you need to import from React. Now here this will basically take an initial value, and this will return a stateful value and a function there will be to update it. Now which function? So this is the function that is updating it. Okay, so here this is the initial value. Now this value can be anything. It can be a null, it can be empty array, it can be object, it can be string, it can be number, or it can be a boolean. So in our case we'll keep this one as a boolean. So we have a variable, we have a method, we have a hook, and then the initial value or initial state. So this is your initial state. You can also take it like this. So we are having initial state, and here you are having, let's say I'll give this one name as what we'll do, flag value. So this is the false, something like that. Okay, this like that also you will be able to take. Okay, or you can directly take it like this, because currently we are having only one, so I'll give initial value as false or initial state, and then I'm going to pass this initial state here. Okay, if you are using TypeScript, then you need to give type and everything here, that this will be a boolean, something like that. So here you are having a state. Now let's say log this. Okay, so for now what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to render it here, that if, remove this. Okay, if flag is true, so flag is nothing but this flag, the state variable. I'm going to remove all of this for now, keep this one clean. So if the flag is true, I'm going to render a h4, and I'm going to render the name and the city, or else I'm going to render hello, something like that. Save it. Now you are getting hello. Now why? That is the reason, because the initial state is false. If I make this one true, and let's refresh this, So you're having Roxy and ABC. Okay, now let's say there is a button, and on click of that button you want to change this from false to true and vice versa, or true to false. So let's take a button here. So we'll do so, or we'll do toggle text. Now again same process. What you need to do, you need to take a on click event. So I'll take a on click, and this will be handle toggle text. Now here you don't have any this concept, right, because this is not a class. So here you can take a simple function like this, or you can also take arrow function like const. Okay, but I'll take like simple function only. So I'll do function handle toggle text. Now how you are going to update the state, right? So what you need to do, right, you need to take this flag or method. So this is a dispatch, you can see that react.dispatch set state action and boolean. Now why this is the boolean? Because this is the current state. If I make this one for let's say string, right, see what will happen. So now it's dispatching a string. If I make this one a array, this is dispatching a array, something like that. Okay, now what you need to do, just need to flag, you need to basically toggle this flag. So what you will do not equal to flag, as simple as that. So what you are doing, you're basically making the flag from true to false, false to true, something like that. Save it, and now you see that if I click on toggle text, it's changing, click, it's changing. Right, so this is a very simple example of how you are going to manage state. Now the only thing is, it's not about doing so many examples. The main objective is to understand the concept very clearly, how you are going to do that. So first you need to take a variable, which is your state variable, then you will be having a method, then you need to take the use state and the initial state. Now this initial state can be anything, it can be object or whatever you need to do, and based on that you need to do certain operations. For now we'll keep this one very simple, because we are going to use this use state 1000 times in this whole video, and by the end of this particular course you will definitely able to understand each and everything very clearly. So now we'll move to the next one, and that is extremely important, like very important, and that is called the use effect hook. So use effect is similar to this component did mount that we are having here. This component did not mount, component did update, or it also behaves similar way like component did mount. So we are going to see how we are going to do that. So the first thing is that use effect is basically used to manage any kind of any kind of side effects in your application. So what you need to do, first you need to take a use effect from React, and this will give you a callback. So you can see that this is the effect callback, and here this will take a dependency array. So here you can see that react.dependency array, this is very important. What will happen if there is a dependency is present, this use effect will only activate if the value of the dependency will change. We are going to see that. If you'll keep this dependency empty, so we don't have any dependency here, right? So this will only run on page load once, because we don't have any dependency. So that means, what is this equivalent in the class-based component? Remember, in class-based component did mount only run first time. Similarly, in use effect, if you keep this dependency as empty, you don't have any dependency, empty array, this will also run only once. Log here, and I'll do run only once page load. Save it. Now let's go here. So refresh this page. So you can see the run only once on page load. I think this is coming 2 times because in the main.json we have a strict mode. Let me remove this. Okay, run only once on page load, correct? So that means this will only run once. Now see, remember we have done this logic, right? On page load we are changing this one. So similarly we can change this state also. Let's say I want to, currently we are seeing, if I refresh this page on first time, we are seeing Roxy dot and ABC. The reason is because this initial state is true.
and if this is true, we are going to render the name and city. What I want to do, right, on page load, I will make this one from true to false, so that you'll be able to see hello world. See how we are going to do that. So we'll do the same thing. We'll do set flag as, let's make this one as not equal to flag. Save it. See, we are getting hello. On page load, we are getting hello, and if you click here, then only this is changing. So first time from true to we are making false in the use effect. So this is how you do side effects. Now this is when you keep the dependency as empty. Now let's say you want to manage some kind of side effects, like for example the similar example that we have taken here, that you have a button. So here you have a button, right, and there is a count. Whenever you are increasing the count and the value is going to 10, then only you are doing something. Similar example we are going to implement here. Okay, so let's say how we are going to do that.